they have some options here. So they can make just posts for free, just on their feed in a story, however the system works. And they can also then set up ads, which is its own world and portal and whatnot. How should business marketers, you're talking to the business marketer person who does those decisions, how should they think of those two things? Should they think of them separately? Should they think of them as two sides of the same coin? And then what is the best way to use them in concert once you've understand like how these things relate?
So in a lot of cases, when it comes to all forms of marketing, things blend together. So you don't need to be on all the different platforms, but you do need to use a mix of organic and paid. So just like websites people might be familiar with, there's organic content that is posts, stories, reels, etc., that you as a business owner, as a company, or someone on your team creates or reshares. You might pay a marketer or someone on your team to develop the content, but you're not paying the platform. So that is organic. And that's an obvious pro, is that you're not having to pay to use the service. But the con is that your reach is limited. You're competing with other, not only business accounts, but personal accounts. So you're trying to get noticed alongside a funny cat video that is really entertaining. And that can be hard. So I definitely recommend that clients incorporate paid social media as well. So that's just advertising on the platforms. And for this, you pay the platform. You might pay a marketer to develop the content or an agency to set up and hopefully monitor the success of ads. But the pros and cons are reversed in this scenario. For paid social media, you're paying the platform, but you have the ability to reach more people. And when you're using paid, you're able to see results more quickly than only focusing on organic content. Ideally, for a long-term marketing strategy for a business, you want to focus on both organic and paid. And I typically recommend that all my clients start by selecting platforms that match their target market, as I mentioned earlier, and focus on developing engaging content that is, for most platforms, going to be published at least once a day. Then they need to go back and analyze that performance of the different posts, figure out what's working, what's not, and that can actually inform the paid social media advertisement and what types of posts, videos will work best for that. Because the thing is, just because someone clicks on an ad, it doesn't mean they're going to buy from the business, but it likely means they're going to research the business a little more. If a company doesn't have a successful social media strategy, people click on the page, they look at it, the content's lackluster, or maybe someone hasn't posted in months, you're going to start to question the quality of the company. And they might think, if they couldn't take the time to market themselves well, what makes me think that they're going to have the time to treat me well as a customer? So
that's a good point.
That's kind of the balance that you have to have. Even if you're running any type of ad, Google ad, anything, maybe it's a traditional, maybe it's a radio ad, but they come to your website and they see your latest blog happened in 2020. That's a problem.
So let me ask 2 follow-up questions on that, because I heard you did cover a lot in helping us just get our bearings straight. One thing that I've heard, and I think I heard you reiterate it, is when you're talking about what are the purposes of organic and the limitations, and what are the purposes of paid and the limitations. When I think of organic, I think of someone who already knows you and likes you enough. They may not be your top customer, but they are in the customer potential category. They like you enough to where they're willing to follow a company page. Now, they might just be doing it because, hey, I'd like to potentially see something from them. They're not going to be going directly to your page every day to try to see what you posted next. Now, some brands are that dang good. But anyways, my thought is that when it comes to organic, people are only going to see it in most cases in general if they've liked your page, subscribed to your page, whatever. And I think that one of the key words you said there is what's most important from there is engaging. You're trying to build digital relationships, and you have presumably you should be building an audience and then engaging with that audience, that community, to entertain them, to inform them, to educate them. And that's somewhat of a different objective versus most of the way we use ads. We're probably trying to find people who wouldn't see us on organic, or we're trying to, it might be a straight sales conversion campaign, or it might be I want new people to hear about me and engage with me that I just can't reach for free. Am I getting it right in terms of the purposes?
Of course you are. So the way that I like to explain this to clients is social media. I'm going to use the analogy of we are all at a big get together and it's not business related. And if I came up to you and all I did was talk about my business, you'd get bored. You want to talk to someone else.
Yep.
But if I did, like you said, and I came up and I educated you, I entertained you, I informed you, and then I was like, that actually relates to my business. It's a softer sell and it's what people want. The traditional way of advertising, billboards, radio, TV, it's one to many. But now you're thinking, I'm advertising to someone who might be scrolling in their bed at 2 a.m. So I've got to be more authentic. I've got to be more personal. So that's what's going to keep people coming back for your content and hopefully following your page and keeping up with you 364 days out of the year. And they might only need your product 1 day out of the year. But if you've established yourself as the expert, keeping yourself top of mind, they will think of you first. But now switching it over to an ad perspective, you've really got to grab their attention and you've got to focus on promoting yourself. I think one of the biggest things that I like to push for the advertising portion of it is calling out who you're targeting. Just be frank and say, hey, I am targeting mothers who are tired of doing dishes, and then saying what you're going to be able to provide, how you're going to make their life better. And that's the key principle of marketing, right? What's your problem? How can I solve it?
Yep. No, I like that. And I feel like that's a big mindset shift for so many small businesses, because I still feel like we're stuck. I hate to say it, but we're still talking like 2014 before Facebook even changed a lot of their algorithms, where like you basically can use it as a company bulletin board. You see it all the time. Like, you know, hey, here's XYZ event we have coming up, or here's XYZ sale on XYZ product that we have coming up. And you just assume because you put up a post once every few days, if that everybody who likes your page is going to see it and they're all going to respond. That's just not the way it works. And you have to build relationships, even with the people who follow you and have made a couple purchases from you. You can't just take that for granted. And like you said, the final thing I think of is you have to make it about them, not about you.
Yes.
You have to make it about them. Like you need to give me what I want to see. You gotta educate me or entertain me, or preferably both. If you're constantly get, no one's gonna want to see that or engage with that.
No, it's I always say that you need to completely, turn that marketing hat 180 from, the traditional, I want to tell you what I want you to know, to what does your customer actually want to know? That's the big difference that you see when it's coming to social media and digital marketing in general. And I mean, really think back to it. If you are trying to entertain someone who has got 10 different apps open and they can scroll quickly, they're not reading, like, you've got to stand out. And you're not going to stand out by just showing me a photo of your product. I don't care.
Yeah.
Show me behind the scenes, educate me, make me laugh because you made a mistake. Be honest and transparent with me. It's just,
I love that.
It's a different world.
Be human. Be human. Everything's so, gussied up. Like, it's okay. Like, it's even like in your intro, like, I could make that when I butchered a couple things. Sometimes I just leave it raw because I genuinely want people to be thinking they hear me. And if you hear Philip talk in person, he's going to flub some words. That's just the way it's going to be. I did want to ask you one final question. Have you ever consulted a client and they hear what it takes to do social media marketing right, and they're like, I don't want to do that, or I can't do that? Have you ever told them like, well, maybe social media marketing shouldn't be one of your strategies to grow?
So typically my goal with clients is to get them to set a strategy when it comes to all forms of marketing. Attempt, if they don't have someone else on their team who's devoted to marketing, attempt to implement some of those marketing elements, especially social media. It has such a low barrier to entry. Attempt to understand what goes into it. Then if you are not comfortable with it, if you don't think that you are doing it well, you still have to include it, but you probably need to hire someone to do it. And then you will understand the strategy that goes into it and why you're paying someone so much. You'll understand their value even more. So you can't sleep on social media. You got to have that. You got to have a website. You need a Google business page. I mean, that is just what we're at in 2022. And the clients that come to me that are frustrated that their social media isn't working, I say, Well, how often do you post? Oh, well,
Mhm.
once a month, but I have a page. That's not enough. It's like you said, Philip, you've got to get people coming back for more, posting regularly. And
Mhm.
that's what the algorithms reward. The
Mhm.
algorithms, everything from Google to Facebook, they want to give people content that they want so that
Yes,
we will keep coming back to those apps and those platforms. So you've got to
100%.
help them do that and they will help show your content.